The corridor fell at hour 36, exactly on schedule. Fleet Commander Torath of the Veshan Dominion stood on the command deck of the Severance and watched the last human ship, a destroyer, burning from bow to stern, slide out of formation and go dark. No explosion, no dramatic last stand. The destroyer simply stopped firing, vented its remaining atmosphere through the port hull breach, and drifted. 4 ships. The humans had held the Kessler transit corridor with 4 ships against his 23 for 36 hours, and now they were gone. Torath should have felt victory. He had taken the position. His fleet held the corridor. The transit lane was open for Veshan forces to pour through and pressure the human flank at Arden Station. Instead, he felt uneasy. He pulled up the engagement record and started writing the after-action report, because that was what procedure demanded, and because the numbers weren't making sense. The human force had consisted of 1 light cruiser, the UEN Blackford, and 3 destroyers, the Sutter, the Grimes, and the Pell. Combined tonnage was roughly 1/9 of his own fleet. Their weapons were outclassed. Their shields were outclassed. Their numbers were a joke. And yet, hour 1 through 4. The Blackford had positioned itself at the narrowest point of the corridor, using the asteroid density on both sides to funnel Torath's fleet into a firing lane where only 3 of his ships could engage simultaneously. He'd lost a frigate before he'd recognized the geometry. Hour 5 through 11. The humans rotated. Every 90 minutes, the forward ship pulled back and the next one cycled in. Fresh shields, recycled heat sinks, recharged capacitors. Torath's ships had no such rotation. They pressed forward continuously, accumulating thermal load and shield degradation while the humans stayed cool and precise. He noted this in the report, annotated it, moved on. Hour 12 through 20. Torath had committed his reserves to force the corridor from 2 angles. The Grimes had taken a direct hit to its engine housing and lost thrust on the port side. Any sane commander would have withdrawn it. Instead, the Grimes had anchored itself to an asteroid fragment using its docking clamps, turning itself into a fixed gun platform. It fired for another 6 hours from that position, forcing Torath to reposition 3 capital ships to suppress a single crippled destroyer bolted to a rock. He stared at that section of the report for a long time. Hour 21 through 30, the humans began giving ground. Slowly, methodically. Each retreat was exactly 500 kilometers, pulling Torath's fleet deeper into the corridor, stretching his formation longer, thinning his coverage. He had recognized the tactic. He had advanced anyway because the corridor was the objective, and the humans were clearly weakening. They had been weakening. He was certain of it. Hour 31 through 36, the final phase. The Blackford took the center. The Sutter and the Pell flanked. The Grimes, still bolted to its asteroid, still firing. The humans fought without desperation, without panic, without any of the hallmarks of a force that knew it was going to die. They fought like they were running a drill, like the outcome didn't matter, like they already knew what happened next. The Pell went dark at hour 33, the Sutter at 34, the Grimes at 35. Someone aboard had detonated the reactor, taking the asteroid fragment with it. The Blackford fought alone for the last hour. Its commander, a Captain Rhys Gallagher, according to the transponder, executing a fighting withdrawal so precise that Torath's tactical officer had called it textbook. Then the Blackford went dark, and the corridor was his. Torath had immediately sent boarding teams to the drifting hulls. Standard procedure: capture the ships, pull the databanks, recover intelligence. The boarding teams found nothing. Every databank had been scrubbed. Every navigation system had been wiped. Every tactical display had been zeroed. The humans hadn't just lost these ships, they had sterilized them. There was nothing aboard any of the 4 vessels except atmosphere, debris, and the bodies of crew who had died at their stations. Torath sat back in his chair. 4 ships, 36 hours, 1/9 his tonnage, and they had fought with the precision of a species that knew, to the minute, how long they needed to hold. Not how long they could hold, how long they needed to. The thought arrived quietly, like a crack forming in glass. They weren't defending the corridor. They had never been defending the corridor. They had been occupying his attention, drawing his fleet deeper into a fixed position, making him commit reserves, making him stretch his formation, making him want the corridor so badly that he poured everything into taking it. He reached for the fleet-wide communications panel. The sensor officer spoke first. "Commander, contacts bearing 117 by 042, multiple signatures, human tonnage." A pause. Heavy tonnage. Torath looked at the tactical display. His fleet was strung out across 18 kilometers of corridor, guns oriented forward, formation optimized for the push he'd just completed. His reserves were spent, his ships were thermally loaded, his formation had no depth on the flanks. The human fleet, the real fleet, the one that had been somewhere else for 36 hours while 4 ships held Torath's attention, hit his flank like a hammer coming down on glass. 47 ships, carriers, battlecruisers, a dreadnought with a hull designation he didn't recognize. Torath looked down at his half-finished report. He understood now what Captain Gallagher had been doing. The Blackford and her 3 destroyers hadn't been a rearguard. They had been a lesson. Every rotation, every precise retreat, every 500-kilometer withdrawal had been designed to teach Torath exactly one thing: that the corridor was valuable, that it was weakly defended, and that taking it was the right decision. They had taught him to want it, and he had learned perfectly. The dreadnought fired first. The Severance shuddered. Torath closed the report file. There would be time to finish it later, or there wouldn't, and either way the humans had already written the only version that mattered. 4 ships, 36 hours, exactly as ordered. Follow Sci-Fi Shorts for more original sci-fi short stories, HFY, space opera, and life between the stars.